We're creating an alternative, an alternative investment, alternative use of our people see spaces, spaces where people would never look at. A lot of the spaces we invest in, that we buy, are spaces for the community, optimizing the spaces to see that the community can have a place, for example, place of worship, for example, co-working spaces, turning police station, prisons into co-working spaces, private offices, and also old pubs into a pad hotel, event center. So it's a mixed use of how people see space in time of the property world. So it's a game changer because what we're doing is bringing to the market an opportunity of optimizing spaces and bringing the spaces for the community. With opportunities come challenges, but as an entrepreneur, you try to navigate your way of how do I solve the challenges. So the opportunity we have currently is huge because we have an opportunity where you have buildings that are empty across the UK where a lot of people are not looking at, and the opportunities allows us to look at, for example, repurposing the old assets into new, retrofit, for example, bringing back the spaces for the community, looking at spaces like we currently have in our pipeline where we have development opportunity with the community asset as well, and also bringing back spaces for the community. But the challenges, a big part of challenges that everyone would say in the current market is funding. Funding is a major problem. And looking at what we do is also so tough because the market and funders are not really looking at this alternative investment. Is it okay for them to look at it? So the challenge, major challenge for us is capital, is funding. But we're seeing a lot of ways of having to bring solution, and while we're also creating a solution to the challenge is we having to talk about our social impact fund. Last year I spoke on MAPIM about retrofit and repurposing old asset. This year I'll be speaking about doing business with a purpose, which a lot of organizations, businesses don't really look at the purpose of why they're doing what they do, and understanding that the purpose is a big part of what they do. So for me this year, speaking about doing business with purpose is so important, and having people knowing their whys, their values, why they're doing what they're doing, and what needs to be done. So yeah, that's why I'm MAPIM this year, speaking about doing business with purpose. And obviously, MAPIM is an opportunity to educate people about social impact, social responsibility. We're very big on social impact, we're very big on what we do because we're so focused on bringing the spaces back for the community, and that's part of the social impact, which this year we're launching the Social Impact Fund. We're literally going to be doing a lot of stuff, announcing what is coming to the market, the Social Impact Fund, where it allows people to invest in social causes and allow people to also measure what we're doing. We've got good partnership with Good Economy. They're going to be measuring our fund and seeing also the part of the ESG part of the fund, and also a lot of alternative investment for people to see that this is good investment. This is where they should really focus. Institutional funders looking at this funding as a way to see that they're giving back as well to the community, but also making a good return for their capital as well as an alternative investment. So we kind of look out for spaces that we know we can add value, and a big part of our ethos as a business is legacy. Is how do we see that old buildings are still retained, knowing that still keeping the architectural look of the spaces, but the internal part of the spaces can be optimized, which comes into retrofit as well and repurposing of this asset. So for example, we buy a lot of government assets, cop buildings, bingo buildings, cinemas, buildings like pubs where people would never think there is still a value in those spaces, hotels, abandoned buildings like community centers, youth club, or whatever buildings that have not been used. We then optimize the spaces and bring them back for community use. And that's what a lot of our investors see with us and see that this is really good because it's bringing value back into the community.